I have received some queries from some of the students, so I am posting this particular video so that you can again have a look at the method of solving the questions. So suppose this is a question that you have to solve in a group of students. 100 know Hindi, 50 know English and 25 know both. Now we are going to solve this particular question using both the Venn diagrams, the diagrammatic method, as well as the numerical method, wherein we'll be using the formula. So let us first start solving this using the Venn diagrams. Now you'll have to very carefully follow this particular lecture. Let us start putting these values in the Venn diagram. So let us suppose this first circle denotes Hindi, and this looks like slightly gray. So let me call it the gray color. So the circle with the gray color is basically denoting students who know Hindi. Now whenever we are having these kind of questions, what you have to do is you have to basically draw two overlapping circles. So I have drawn the second overlapping circle, the circle which is overlapping the first circle. This one is blue in color, so I'll call it the blue circle, and it is denoting the number of students who know English. And the overlap in the middle, the overlap of the Hindi circle and the English circle that you see in the middle of the screen, or let us say the overlap of the brown colored circle and the blue colored circle that you see in the middle, this is basically the overlapping area, which means this is the area common to both Hindi and English. Basically this denotes those students who know both Hindi as well as English. So whenever you have these kind of questions, you simply draw this kind of a diagram. Now just a slight digression. It may so happen that in some cases the overlap area is equal to 0, which means there is no student who knows both Hindi and English. The overlap area is 0, which means there is no overlap between Hindi and English circles, which means no student knows both Hindi as well as English. In such a case, also you need to draw the same kind of diagram. The only difference would be that the value that will come for the overlap area would be equal to 0, and that will tell you that there is simply no overlap, or there is no student who knows both Hindi as well as English, right? So without worrying about the value of the overlap, without worrying about whether there is an overlap or not, you simply draw this diagram. If the value comes out to be 0, it actually means there is no overlap, and if the value is non-zero, that means there is an overlap, or there are some students who know both the languages, Hindi as well as English, right? So let us now come back to the method of solving this particular question. Now we have drawn two circles, overlapping circles. We have to draw. The brownish one is denoting Hindi and the blue is denoting the English, those students who know English, right? And we have also shown the overlap area. Now we can have a look at the question, and the question says that 25 know both. So there are 25 students who know both the languages. So the overlap area, I will put in this value in the overlap area, and now this becomes 25, because these are the students who know both Hindi as well as English, and that is why this value will be actually occupying the overlapping area, right? Now let me shift back my focus to how many know Hindi. I know the circle which is being denoted by the gray color, brownish gray color. Basically this circle denotes the number of students who know Hindi, and the total value of this circle should be 100, because 100 students know Hindi. But I know already that the overlapping area has a value of 25, which means the remaining portion, the gray portion, should have a value of 100 minus 25 is equal to 75, right? You can do a cross check also. Please add the value in the grayish part and the overlapping part, 75 and 25, and this would be 100, which means the number of students who know Hindi is equal to 100. The value of the whole circle should be equal to 100, and 100 it is. So we have cross-checked it also now. In the similar fashion, we also have to now find out the value of the bluish portion which is now left. Bluish portion which is now left, the whole circle basically denotes students who know English, but the bluish portion, which means the whole circle and excluding the overlapping part, denotes those students who know only English, right? Since we know that the whole circle, the value should be 50 because 50 students know English. However, the overlapping area's value is already 25, so the remaining value which should occupy the bluish area is equal to 50 minus 25 is equal to 25. And now we have in a way solved the question. How? Now we have value for every single space. The grayish space has the value 75, the overlapping area has 25, and the blue area has the value 25. Now what is the meaning of this? How do we interpret this particular figure? See, the grayish portion basically denotes those students who know only and only Hindi and no other language. The grayish portion. So the circle which is denoting Hindi, in that particular circle there are basically two areas. The one area is the grayish portion, of which the value is 75, and the other area is the overlapping portion, of which the value is 25. Now the grayish portion is basically denoting those students who know only Hindi and no other language, no English. They only know Hindi, and the value of that is 75. So now we know that the number of students who know only Hindi is equal to 75, right? Now let us try and find out the value, the number of those students who know only English. Can you do it now? Only English means the blue area of the English circle. The English circle is on the right, the blue, and it comprises of two areas, the blue area and the overlapping area. The total circle means students who know English, but they may be knowing other language also. While the blue area is the students who know only and only English, they do not know Hindi. The overlapping area shows students who know English as well as Hindi. So we now can understand that students who know only English is equal to 25. This is the value which is appearing in the bluish part of the English circle, and that is why it is only English. The overlapping part will denote the students who know both Hindi as well as English, right? So now we have got answer to this particular question also, in case this question is asked. How many students know only English? 25. How many students know only one language? So what do we mean by only one language? They either know only Hindi. There are two languages only here. So only one language means they either know only Hindi or they only know English. They don't know both. So basically you have to add up the grey portion, which is denoting those students who know only Hindi, and the blue portion which is denoting the students who know only English, and then you have to add it up, and this is what will give you the answer. Only one language, 100 students know only one language, right? Now, how many students know two language? Hindi and English. So two language means the student should be able to speak both Hindi as well as English, and this is being denoted by the overlapping part. So we can straight away write this down. Two languages equal to 25. Now we are left with another question which might be asked in various competitions and in your exams also. Either of the two language. What does this mean? Either of the two language means at least one of the two language. This means at least one, which means either only Hindi or only English or both. So we have added them up. Only Hindi 75, the greyish portion. Only English, the bluish portion, is equal to 25, and both also, that is the overlapping portion. And so 75 plus 25 plus 25 is equal to 125. So this is how you can interpret this particular figure. Please understand, only is one word that you have to be really careful about while trying to solve these questions. Only Hindi and Hindi, there's a lot of difference. In this particular figure, you see that Hindi is denoted by the full circle, which includes the grayish part as well as the overlapping part, and Hindi, the value is coming out to be 75 plus 25 is equal to 100. Have a look at the first circle which is there on the left. So Hindi is equal to 75 plus 25 is equal to 100, but only Hindi means you do not have to take into consideration the overlapping area. So the grayish area, which is denoting 75, is basically telling us the number of, showing us the number of students who know only Hindi, and the value is 75. Okay. Now let us try and understand what is the total number of students. Again, not very difficult. Total number of students is those who know Hindi, those who know English only, those who know Hindi only, and those who know the both languages. So let me repeat. Total number of students, only Hindi, only English, and those who can speak both Hindi and English. So we have added them up. Only Hindi is equal to 75, only English again 75, again 25, sorry, and the number of students who can speak both the languages is equal to 25. So now we have got total number of students equal to 125. Is this okay? I am reiterating the fact that you have to be really careful about only, and there is a lot of difference between Hindi and only Hindi. Only would not include the overlapping part. In our earlier video sessions also we had discussed the difference between only and only Hindi and Hindi. So you can have a look at those videos also, and there also we had derived formula. For only Hindi we had derived a different formula, and for Hindi that formula is very, very different. Now let us try and solve this question using the numerical method, wherein we use the formula for two sets, for the union and intersection of two sets. Here 100 know Hindi, so we can denote it by NH. N, small n, basically means the number of students who know Hindi. H is denoting Hindi. Again, number of students who know English 50, and number of H intersection E, which means both Hindi and English, the overlapping area, is equal to 25. And you know the formula, H union E is equal to H plus E minus H intersection E. And the same thing we have done here. We have basically put in the values from the first three lines, and this way we'll get the answer 125. This is the total number of students who speak at least one of the languages. They either speak Hindi or they speak English, or possibly they can also speak both the languages. So at least one language they know, and this way we'll get the number of students who can speak either language is equal to 125. Now if I need to find out only Hindi, and we had discussed this formula in the earlier video sessions also, in that case what you'll have to do is from NH, that is the number of students that know Hindi, you'll have to deduct, you'll have to subtract NH intersection E, which is the number of students who can speak both the languages. And so we have done it here also. 100 minus 25 is equal to 75. We have put in the values from the first line and from the third line. So this is what we'll get here. Only Hindi, you can cross check. Only English, again this time if you have to find out only English, you'll have to deduct N H intersection E from NE. Now so NE you already know, second line 50, and H intersection E is equal to 25 from the third line, and this way we'll get the value 25 as our answer. Only English speaking students who speak only English is equal to 25. Only one language means you simply have to add them up, only Hindi plus only English, and then you will get 100. Either language would again mean, now this again is very important, either means either only Hindi, either only English, or both the languages. Either means at least one language, either only Hindi, either only English, or both the languages, and that is why we have added them all up, and we have taken the values from the above mentioned lines, and this way we'll get the answer 125. So either the number of students who speak either of the language is equal to 125. Now you can now see that now we have got basically two different methods. You've got the diagrammatic method also, and then you've got the numerical method wherein you are using the formula also. So you can use both the methods. In case you find a particular method easier, you can go for it, but ideally it is expected that you should know both the methods, because many times, specifically in the competitive exams, one particular method is going to help you arrive at the answer faster. So if you don't know that particular method, you may be able to solve the question, but it may take a lot of your time, right? So it is expected that you should be able to attempt the question using both the methods, and that is what you should aim for. Now let us add one more small nuance to this particular question. So I'll be moving to another question, and the question is largely the same except for one particular statement which has been added to the question. So this particular statement now is 30 note neither. Rest everything is same as the last question that we had discussed just now. In a group of students, 100 know Hindi, 50 know English, and 25 know both. 30 note neither. So there are 30 students who know neither Hindi nor do they know English. So they don't know either Hindi or English, right? So now let us try and solve this question. Again, the same method that we used the last time, and we are putting in the values. The same method, it is the same method that we used the last time. So this is what we had done already, so I'm not going to discuss that again. But now what you have to do is, you have to find out the total value of the two figures that are shown here, the two circles that are shown here and which are overlapping also. So the total value is 75 plus 25 plus 25 is equal to 125, and this is the value of H union E. H union E, basically now you understand that H union E is nothing but it is basically denoting all the area covered by the two overlapping circles. So the total area covered by the two overlapping circles is equal to 125. You can have a look also. The grayish portion measures 75, the overlapping portion's value is 25, and the bluish portion's value is 25. So the total becomes 125. So this is the value of H union E. In other words, this is the value of students who know either H or E, either Hindi or English. So union basically means either or. And we had seen earlier also that intersection means and. So when something is available in both the sets, then it is denoted by intersection, right? While either or means either present in one set or present in the other set or present in both the sets, and then it is denoted by union, H union E. So the value of H union E here becomes 125. But now we also have to account for the statement which was added to this particular question, that 30 know neither. So you can understand, where would I show the students who know neither of the two languages? Naturally it has to be shown somewhere outside, because see at the bottom right you see 30 value I have shown, and this is the value of H union E complement. Remember the discussion that we had in the earlier video sessions. Now this is the value of the H union E complement. What do we mean by this? It contains all those values which are not part of H union E. H union E is the area which shows those students who speak either Hindi or English or both the languages. But there are students who neither speak Hindi nor speak English, and naturally they would lie somewhere outside the two circles, somewhere outside the area covered by the two circles, and that is why I have mentioned this value here at the bottom right corner. And this total would be called the universal set, right? And the value of the universal set now becomes H union E. What is the value of the area covered by this rectangular box? This should be equal to the area covered by the overlapping circles plus the area outside the overlapping circles. So area covered by overlapping circle is 125, and the area outside the overlapping circles is 30. And so you can add them both up and the answer will be 155. Look at it in a slightly different fashion. What is union? What is the universal set? It should include the area covered by the two circles, the two overlapping circles, and the area outside the two circles. The area covered by the two overlapping circles is basically H union E. So whatever is outside is basically H union E complement, right? So when you have to find out the value of the universal set, you'll have to add them up, and now this becomes 155. So you can cross check using the mathematical method also, numerical method also. Now you would also remember from our earlier discussions that universal set basically can be obtained by adding a particular set to its complement, and that is what we have done here. H union E becomes one set now, and we have added it to its complement, H union E dash or H union E complement, and the value that we get is 155, right? So let us try and solve this using the numerical method. The same question, you know already, we have done this in the last question that we attempted, so I'm not going to discuss them in detail. These values were there, have been given here. Now we basically find H union E, either language, and the formula for that is NH plus NE minus H intersection E. So we get the values equal to 125. Now what is NH union E complement? The value is equal to 30. Basically it only means those students who don't speak either Hindi or English, because H union E is those students who speak either Hindi or English or both the languages. So either of the languages somebody is speaking, then that particular student will be part of H union E. So if some students don't speak either of the languages, they don't speak either Hindi or English, then naturally that should be the value of the complement of H union E, and that is being shown here. So H union E complement means those students who speak neither Hindi nor English, and simply what you have to do now is you have to add the two up. A set when added to its complement will form the universal set, and that is what has been done here, and the universe will now have 155 students. What does this basically mean? This means basically in this particular context, when we are talking of the universe consists of 155 students. Out of them 100 know Hindi, 50 know English, 25 know both. Number of students who speak either Hindi or English is 125, and these students who don't speak either Hindi or English, the remaining students, the number is 30, and that is why the total number of students is now basically 155, right? So this was a slight variation which you might see in your exams also, in the questions that might appear in your exams, and that is why I deliberately introduce this particular variation here. So now the job for you is to look for more such questions and try and solve them. The point is that you should understand, and there were two important things that I mentioned in this particular lecture. One was that you have to be very, very careful about the word only, and I've told you only A is different from A, only English is different from English, only Hindi is different from Hindi. So you have to be very careful about this. And second, you have to be careful about the word either. Either would mean at least one. So either language means at least in one language out of Hindi or English, which means either only Hindi, either only English, or both Hindi as well as English. So these two things you have to be very, very careful about. And then also please try and solve the questions using both the methods. Very soon we'll be having a test. There are various questions that appear in the various competitive exams from this particular topic, and that is why very soon we'll have a test to assess how much you have understood through these video sessions. Thank you very much for your time, and please go through the video again in case you are still not able to follow a particular concept, and in case you come across any problems, you can always address your queries to me after only discussing it with your batchmates. Thank you very much.